Hello, I am Hasegawa from Yahoo Japan Corporation. In this session, I will be speaking about two themes on financial brand. Number one is about commonization of the styles, and also the second is the optimization of entry forms. So I will briefly introduce myself. I am Shinya Hasegawa. I started my working career as a computer graphics designer. I have worked for 3 companies so far, and with Yahoo Japan as my longest experience as a UI/UX designer. Currently, in addition to my roles as head of brand management for the financial service business and CXO of PayPay Card, I lead the UI/UX department, which is responsible for the UX quality of services across the financial service business. Today, I'd like to share with you the process that our designers and PayPay Financial Services have gone through in unifying the brands of the financial business. First of all, here are the takeaways from today's session. Number 1 is style commonization. We are aligning brands and UI/UX across finance through design libraries. And by using the library to reduce costs, designers have more time to contribute to their core business KPIs. Number 2 is entry form optimization. We are sharing EFO knowledge and enhancing forms across financial services. We are also improving CVR through iterative UI improvement and testing and through interaction. We will now talk about our financial services case study. The first is the style commonization, which is essential for unification of financial service brands. First, the background. In July 2020, Z Financial, a group company, issued a press release announcing that all financial companies will unify under the PayPay brand. The reason for the unification of brands is the decision to strengthen the linkage of the financial services provided by each company with the fast-growing PayPay and to grow the business rapidly. From the customer perspective, we want to make the name easy to understand so that the users will become familiar with the service. For these reasons, we have decided to unify the company and service name under the PayPay brand. From left to right, this is the before and after of the service UI. Brand unification does not mean simply replacing the title or brand logo. Therefore, during the transition period, our designers decided to work out how quickly the UI and style could be improved to embody the simplicity of the service and the brand. The design library has played an important role in the process of developing a unified brand. I will explain this process step by step. So these are the challenges of financial services. At that time, naturally, each company brand had a different direction, resulting in a disparate design. Other specific challenges included the production environment of each company was different, making it impossible to guarantee quality. There was no designer with a bird's eye view of the whole project, and different conditions for designers and organizations in each company. So we decided to create and deploy styles that is common among all financial services. We created the necessary styles for the financial services in conjunction with the style guide for the PayPay app. And the targeted effects were to be recognized by users with a consistent service image, to establish guidelines for the PayPayness that should be maintained, to create a common library that would allow anyone to follow the basic design, and to create a system that guarantees the minimum necessary quality. So these are the challenges in the production sites at the time. Here too, there were issues such as differences in the direction of each company, quality standards, and design management. The main challenges were the lack of UI specs and the lack of unusable design patterns. No UI specs and no usable design patterns As a result, the style differed from screen to screen. In order to facilitate efficient library creation among designers, the improvements were made to the preliminary preparation and the production environment. Specifically, the following changes were made. The production tool was changed and standardized to Figma, and unified the UI of each screen using Figma's components. Research on large-scale design systems inside and outside the company was performed, and we held interviews on PayPay's production environment. As a result of these activities, we decided to adopt atomic design for library creation. Atomic design is a method of designing UI design in units of parts. We decided to design from the smallest unit, atom, and proceed with design work in the order of molecule, organism, template, and page. Based on the concept of atomic design, components were created and all components were reviewed in detail by visual designer and web developer. The result of these processes is a financial design library. It was created with the introduction of a common style in financial services in mind. First, PayPay Card and PayPay Hoken insurance service started using the design library when they were designing their mini-apps. The design library comprises 6 categories of design assets for mini-apps, smartphone web, and PCs, 7 categories, and component in 7 categories, approximately 43 components.
The slide is about this design library and the systematic aspects of managing PayPay brand. The UI/UX promotion office, of which I am the head, serves as a hub for brand management and design library collaboration among the companies. The UI/UX promotion office is staffed by designers from various financial companies, enabling faster design reflection in specific services and information collaboration. We also work well with PayPay's designers to provide design management. However, quality control is not complete by simply deploying a library. So, we have also created a system to ensure design and brand quality. We created guidelines that have the level of compliance in those items. UX checklist of items related to UI/UX are also created, which includes a checklist of items related to the design library. This is how we manage service quality across services. The following are examples of services designed using the library. Cars, insurance, and banking services are taking the lead in applying design libraries and unifying their brand and UI/UX. I will briefly introduce each of them. This is the actual design for the card face, mount, and envelopes of the PayPay card. We created a total design from the global view of the card face to the mount and envelope. This is a PayPay card mini application. It is a UI/UX that seamlessly connects from the PayPay app and a UI design for a simple enrollment form. This is a PayPay card member web page. The style guide is applied and the UI is based on the mini app UI. And this is PayPay card various websites. We have aligned the styles of sites for each purpose to improve brand consistency. This is a PayPay insurance mini app. PayPay Hoken or Insurance is a new insurance service that allows users to select and apply for insurance products with simple operations within the PayPay app. PayPay Hoken uses a similar library to create mini applications. PayPay Insurance product-specific service sites. Forms with optimized input fields by using design libraries ensure a consistent subscription experience across all products. This is PayPay Bank. PayPay Bank is a service that allows you to use banking function with a single tap from PayPay. PayPay Bank also creates mini applications in the same style as other companies. PayPay Bank account opening form. Account opening is also completed via the PayPay app and can be completed in as little as 1 day. Its style is simpler than for banks. The common style is applied, so you can apply just like any other PayPay services. These are examples of services that were realized by deploying the design library from the initial stages. Next, about the results from style commonization. First, there are 3 major outcomes of the design library. We were able to unify the design of the insurance with the preceding cards. Secondly, the design foundation for brand unification was established, and multiple services can now be operated at a reduced cost. Here are some examples of the results that go a little deeper. This is about the efficiency and effectiveness through illustration library production. To make financial services more accessible to users, using familiar illustration is very important. Because of difficulties in production, illustrations tended to vary in taste from services to service. So we created a library of paths that can be combined to create various poses and scenes, and are able to create high-quality illustrations with tone and manager not being affected by the differences of creators.
We tried to visualize the reduction in production cost associated with the illustration. When PayPay Insurance moved over 31 articles from its Yahoo Insurance days, it was necessary to redesign the main visuals on all pages to match PayPay's tone and manner. If we had created the illustration from scratch, this would normally take 18 hours, but by utilizing the library, this process was reduced to 16 hours, a 93.5% reduction in man-hours. We consider this to be a very significant benefit in terms of just illustration alone. Next, I would like to introduce a contribution to the business. The average number of users applying for PayPay cards per day has increased by 330% on average compared to the Yahoo Japan card days. The number of post-payment applications has already also surpassed 2 million users. We have received a lot of positive feedback on social networking sites and in user comments about the card face design and the universality of membership. We believe that the number was achieved in large part by creating a style in line with the brand and providing users with an easy-to-understand UI and UX. Lastly, I would like to introduce a case study that has been recognized externally. In October of this year, PayPay Card won the Good Design Award 2022. The design of the card was designed to have a high design quality to be a card that users can confidently take out of their wallets at shops and to have a card face that they would want to show off to others. We have designed the total card design, including the envelope and the card base that is delivered to the user. So here are the 3 points that led to the award. Seamless UI UX with PayPay from the enrollment to actual usage. Number 2, renewal of the card face design, centralized management of card information and functions via an app, taking into account security and risk of loss. Number 3, developing the PayPay post-payment service to provide a better experience than credit cards with the PayPay app. The judges particularly praised the UX of the onboarding process, the completeness of the overall service in conjunction with the PayPay app, and the clean, numberless card design. We believe that one of the reasons for the external recognition of the service, which was designed from scratch, was the result of using the design library to create the service. So, as designers, we're very pleased. Future direction. As a cross-sectional UI UX organization, we will continue to evolve along 3 main axes. First is to share the same design library with all financial companies. Number 2, unify the PayPay style guide and the design library. Further, streamlining design work and devoting more time to essential service contribution. In light of this, we are also preparing a new financial design library to provide a better user experience. The second theme is the optimization of the entry form. So EFO is an important element of financial services, and I will explain it step by step. First, about EFO. It stands for Entry Form Optimization. It is an initiative aimed at improving the conversion of enrollment and account opening forms by exploring, analyzing, and resolving the cause of user abandonment and other issues. From left to right, the form UI before and after. As a general feature, the form has been reconstructed from scratch with the aim of creating a simple form that is linked to the PayPay app and is conscious of the smartphone web and mini apps. In addition, the design library described above is reflected in the UI so that there is a sense of unity and sameness even if users join multiple services. Once again, why are we working on EFO across the financial sector? I will first explain the importance of EFOs. The entry form is the gateway to the service and the point of contact for user communication before usage begins. As such, it needs to be as easy and quick as possible to use the service. Naturally, if the UI/UX quality of the entry form is poor, many users will leave before they even start using the service. As this is an important process before the start of financial service offering, we are working on this with a particular focus on the blue part, the EFO. Second, we are looking at raising the level of entry forms across the financial sector. In the past, each service developed its own UI and worked on EFO. We have therefore set certain standards, and in order to create forms that meet these needs, we have been working together with the services over the past few years to improve the overall bottom-up approach. Next is EFO organization. We, the UI/UX Promotion Office, and each financial service have established a cross-organizational structure for this initiative. UI evaluation through A/B testing, visualization of test results, and deployment of know-how. By repeating this cycle of service improvement as single pattern, we support activities that raise the level of form UI.
Next is about the update CBR, the measures cross-servicing the financial services. There are three measures. First, the result of financial EFOs, both winners and losers, are collected and summarized in Confluence. Past A/B tests are aggregated and can be easily searched and filtered. When preparing or creating a new form, the results of the previous validation can be used as reference to create a form with a basic winning UI. The second is the EFO checklist. We have a checklist that must be complied with in the EFO. A fixed point check of each company with 52 checkpoint items is used to grade the current form. We also regularly grade our companies so that we can measure the competence value of our own services in comparison to the other companies, as well as peer groups. And the third, we measure CBR trends. We measure the CBR transition of each service from the beginning of the term to the end of the term. Improvement in measures in EFO and the relationship with seasonality will be made at fixed point and used as materials for discussion among services and with management as well. We call the measures update CBR to accumulate knowledge related to EFO for financial services by combining and continuing these measures. The following are three specific examples of AFO testing. I have brought all the card cases this time. The first is A/B testing of the card face. The issue is that there are many users who are not sure which one to choose and decide to leave for further consideration. As a hypothesis, we thought it would be good to make it as easy as possible for users to select an important screen such as card ticket selections, So we improved the UI to encourage users choice with popular colors labels. As a result, it increased by 0.58% and significant difference was obtained, so it was reflected in the production. As a conclusion, items that force users to make important decisions that cannot be changed once they have selected lead to abandonment, so it is better to add elements that can push back the user. This is an example that is still being used today for PayPay card business brand selection. The second is an A/B test in which the minimum complete time is indicated on the form step screen. Compared to web leads, the enrollment CBR via the PayPay app is low. We assume that users look at the number of steps on the application screen and think it's not easy to complete it and abandon the site. So we added the time required. The test resulted was minus 0.35% CBR lost against a control bucket. Since A/B testing is quantitative, we decided the improvement was not expected and did not reflect it in production. As a conclusion, we found that PayPay users felt the minimum 5 minutes was too long, and this may have increased the number of abandonment factors. In this way, even when results are unexpected findings, they are stocked as new knowledge. And we consider this is a very useful case study to avoid repeating the same mistakes in creating form UIs. The third test is to change UI from a vertical screen to a short screen optimized for smartphone screens that unfolds a QA format with a next button. Our hypothesis was that it would be better to subdivide the pages into smaller sections for smartphone screens and apps rather than long vertical pages with multiple items on one page. The test result was 1.9%, found more effective and was reflected in production. As a conclusion, the results were better than hypothesis, and we saw them as a winning formula for recent smartphone app-oriented forms and decided to use this format when creating new forms. It was a very effective case with a 1.9% CBR improvement and has been deployed horizontally among financial group companies and is used in the current PayPay card form UI. Next are the results of the EFO initiatives and future direction. Based on the results so far, we'd like to promote the following 3 points. Creating new form UI according to past EFO cases and 5 to checklist items. That is number 1. And secondly, create UI efficiently by sharing knowledge. And thirdly, to create winning UI paths that would improve CV. By continuously implementing these measures, we aim to make the number 1 financial form supported by users. Lastly, summarize. Let me review today's session. First is about the commonization of the styles. So we try to align brand and UI UX across finance through design library. And by saving money using library, more time is spent contributing to the original business KPIs. And secondly, about EFO. So EFO knowledge is shared, forms are strengthened across the financial group companies, and repeatedly test and improve UI improvements and testing, increasing CBR through interaction. I cover these using our financial services case studies. Finally, I would like to reiterate our goal through the initiatives that I have described so far. We want to make the UI UX of PayPay Financial Services seamless and provide users with a common experience. This is the goal of all members of the team. We'd like to provide easy to understand and simple services from the user's perspective so that users feel more accessible to finance, which is considered difficult. And we would like to update that. Thank you very much for your patience.
Thank you, Mr. Hasegawa. From here, we will start Plus Talk, where we will invite a questioner to dig deeper into the content of the session. We also hope to incorporate questions from the audience. So if you have any questions, please submit it using the question mark button at the bottom right of the screen. The questioner this time is Mr. Kentaro Kobayashi from LINE. So, Mr. Kobayashi, would you like to briefly introduce yourself? Do you hear my voice? Yes, we do. I belong to LINE Creative Center, and I'm a manager. And everyone calls me Kenny. Nice to meet you. So, Kobayashi-san, what are your impressions listening to the session? So thank you very much for the great presentation. There was lots of content. So I would like to view it once more later. And you also mentioned the details also, so I could not make up my mind which part I should ask about. So looking at Hasegawa-san's provider profile, you started off as a CC designer. Is that correct? Yes. That is right. I was a computer graphics engineer, and then you became a web designer director, leading up to your current position. I also started off as a graphic designer, and then I became a web producer, and I'm an ad producer. So I really feel familiar with your background. So starting with the simple points. So what is the scale of your team right now? How many designers belong to your organization? Design team, there are also contractors, but there are in total about 25 members in our organization.
Within that, so are there any specific designers focusing on brands or branding? In financial services section, myself and also other two members who is called brand management, who is in charge of brand management. So BI, UI, so the specific designers are not in our section yet. So myself as well as at the time when we make up some design policies, so the branding as well as keywords, we create those. So there is no specific department for that purpose.
In that sense, UI designer and product designers also design those. That's right. So now I have a good idea. So if we look at the title, it says brand unification. So it seems like brand designers are doing all the work, but it seems like unification of UI and UX is also a central theme. The brand and UI UX are merged and are thought of in a comprehensive manner. That was my impression, and I could understand this very well listening to your answer to the question. And in your presentation, PayPay-ness, you had this guideline of what makes PayPay PayPay. And LINE also has a LINE design DNA, like simplify, smart, friendly. Those are keywords for LINE design. So for PayPay brand, do you have any specific keywords on PayPay? We have a design philosophy for PayPay. There are 4: empathy, simple, end-to-end unification, and happy. So these are the 4 keywords, and we base our design on these 4 principles. That is the philosophy.
So you end with happy. Yes, this is very important word, I think, in my impression. Okay, because we want our users be happy. That's very important. Thank you. And also simple. We are all focused on this simplicity. So you gave up this common word for us as well. So that's wonderful. Yeah, I think that's right. Simplicity, consistency. So from Yahoo Japan as well as LINE Corporation, I think they're shared as a common concept. That's also common to PayPay as well as PayPay Finance Services. Thank you. I understand.
By the way, when doing the brand unification, did you have any benchmarks? So were you modeling any other company or brand? So looking at financial institutions and global fintech companies, we have done research on the companies. And among those companies who are doing so there are Rakuten who has a very consistent approach. So we have referred to them to some extent. And with PayPay and post payment and PayPay insurance, the experience we believe is a little bit different from other companies because financial products and services can be used consistently on our platform, and this is very challenging. So we are learning from other companies, but also we are building our own experiences through trial and error.
That's right. Rakuten also have variety of financial services. That's right. There are many wonderful financial services. Thank you. And as for LINE's branding, do you have any? Did you have any cases that we referred to? Cases in LINE. As for LINE Corporation, so we've been already using them. So as a brand image, so it's more like a kind of ID for the people in Japan. And as you just mentioned, so everybody can start using it easily. So it's a type of application and service that is very easy to start. So in the impression, it's very similar to Yahoo Corporation. It's more like water, air. So everybody is with that. That's my impression about that as for that branding. And also, LINE itself, so there are many challenging functions or features. So they are trying to expand to various areas. So we see the name of LINE in many areas. That's my impression. Oh, thank you very much.
Thank you very much for the compliments. And you described LINE as water and air. So we want it to be like a ninja-like design where nobody notices that we are designing. So we want it to be like water and air where everyone uses as a matter of course. So that really is in line. What you said is exactly in line with what we are aspiring for. And PayPay is a financial service. So are there any limitations or challenges unique to the financial sector or restrictions? Can you tell us about that? So this pertains to the area of money. So any country has FSA or financial service agency rules that we need to observe. So these rules we have to follow because these regulations protect the users. So those regulations needs to be understood, and we have to play within that framework. The Japanese law and the legislation outside Japan are different, but basically the Japanese users are protected under the regulations set by the Japanese Financial Services Agency. And that is the challenging part. But we need to really keep track of that. So compared to other parts of the world, the rules might be more stringent or tough. Yes, the rules are different by country, but Japan has solid rules and the rules are followed.
As designers, if there are very strict restrictions, I think you are passionate about being challenged by those, right? Yeah, what you just mentioned right now, I think we recognize them as a kind of positive factors. How can you overcome those? So there can be some new financial functions and features. So that might be the area that we can be very challenging as a designer as well. That's right. Thank you very much.
And another point, I think this brand is specialized on finance. But going forward, are you thinking about expanding this to outside finance? Are you talking about PayPay? Yes. PayPay itself came from the mobile payment area. So that is where PayPay was initially providing. And that has expanded into the financial sector. So we want to really link these together. And PayPay, like Yahoo Japan and LINE, we want the entire Japanese population to use the PayPay service. So we want to try to solve any issues that may arise. And Mr. Nakayama, the president, is saying that all the time. So we are in a phase of really establishing this finance part, so that we want this finance service to be ingrained into the Japanese society.
This might be related to what we just talked about before. So in Japan, especially in financial areas, digital certification and digital area is rather slow to advance. Maybe it's because of national traits, but this can be one aspect. And under those circumstances, PayPay brand are already used by many users. And it's wonderful in my impression. So you are used by many people in Japan. So what is the reason? What is the biggest reason, do you think, Mr. Hasegawa? Well, PayPay, I also use PayPay as well. And the challenge of money is solved by the power of internet and mobile payment in that way, mobile payment solution in that way. I think this is very convenient for many of the users. That's one point. And also, PayPay, at the time brand was launched, so they tried to appeal many consumers. They're doing a lot of brand campaigns. Continuous brand campaigns were issued. So as a recognition by the consumers as the first mobile payment, and started to expand the areas from this brand, from that image. That might be that to the big impression about the or recognition by the PayPay brand. Thank you.
Yes, I think so too. There is a question from the audience. The post payment that is not charged to the PayPay balance, but credit card can be used. So the name is reminiscent of revolving a payment. So some users might be hesitant to use this service. So what do you think about that? The credit card experience. So we wanted to really increase the awareness. So awareness is not yet here that people can use this type of credit card-like experience easily. And about the naming, we do user service and NPS, and we listen to the users' voices, and we continue thinking of what to do. And we understand that there are users who think that way. And on the other hand, we believe we need to communicate better to the users about the true convenience of that feature. So we want to, through this, we would like the users to recognize this feature of post-payment and use it. So we do not intend to change the naming immediately, but we continue to listen to the users.
There are many qualitative as well as quantitative type of results available, right? So are there any specific problems specific in Japan? Sometimes it's too easy and it gives them a concern because of the simplicity. So if you change the message, well, you talked about so that it will take 5 minutes, at least that would, you can finish in at least 5 minutes, or that kind of message was actually rejected. So because of that, there can be some too much simplicity will give some concern. That will be also interesting point. Yeah, I think it might be related to the financial literacy among Japanese people, but also whether our message was appropriate or not was also the issue. So we'd like to grow together. Okay, thank you very much.
And related to that, on improving the entry form, increasing CVR must be done, but you need to make the user feel secure and comfortable. So the form itself must be trusted by the user. That is important. So is there something that you have in mind from that angle? So before becoming a PayPay brand, we always had this thinking. Entry form is something that is not something that the operator or the business forces on the users. So it is something that the user wants to use. And looking at the anti-patterns, we should not ask extraneous questions. And the questions, all the questions needs to be really necessary for the user to join the service, and it should be frictionless. And really, we have to avoid user abandoning. And also, the words and texts we choose, we want to choose them correctly. So this is something that we always have in mind when designing UI UX.
I also received a question relating to that. So UX. So that type of design is also incorporated in design library. So UX writing, I see. Yeah, we are discussing that UX writing is very important. So it's not finished as guideline or design library yet because we need to incorporate some changes made daily. Therefore, that's how we build library. So it's not finished, but basically quality of the language as well as text related to the language. So right now we are cooperating with PayPay. That's one thing. So therefore, consistent wording to communicate with users, that we need to be very established about that.
Do you work with copywriters to do that, or UX writers? Yes, we have UX writers in PayPay, and that domain will become increasingly important going forward. So I think there will be more roles of that sort. Okay, thank you.
I asked you many questions, so it's over 40 minutes. So I think we should conclude around here. Thank you.